Or my life?
Yeah.
Sorry, you guys. I'm live. I'm just staring into space. Yes, I am live. Let's try this one more time. I don't know about you, but I like to have a glass of wine after a long, unproductive day. So I've been enjoying wine lately. And please, Rachel, come to Katie. Hopefully, she'll be here momentarily. And I hope you. Ah,
Hooray!
Rachel!
I'm so sorry. I've never done this before.
You've never. Well, good job. Excellent job. It's hard to get the hang of it, and we have to start and stop because half the time, Rachel, the Wi-Fi is bad and you have
Yeah.
to kind of start over again. But you're so nice to do this.
Thank you for having me. And I'm so impressed that you have figured all of this out. I feel like I never knew how little I knew about technology until I tried to quarantine.
Oh, honey, I had not figured it out. This is why I have my 23-year-old assistant with me. She's quarantining with me, and thank God for her because I'm doing my podcast. I'm doing a lot of Zoom meetings and interviews, so it's been crazy. But you made it. You're frozen a little bit, but hopefully that'll work itself out. Is your Wi-Fi good, or what do you think?
So far so good. Am I
Can you
still
see
frozen?
me?
Yeah, I can see you now.
That's right. You're buffering, so you're fine. I think it'll work. But first of all, I just want to say I'm super excited to meet you because I am such a huge fan. Not to get all fangirly on you.
Thank you. It's so nice to meet you too. This is so strange, but it's really fun.
Yeah. And by the way, I mean, what a gift, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. I mean, it's such a fantastic show. It's so great. You're fantastic in it.
Thank
But
you.
these kinds of roles don't come along all that often. How did you first learn of the role, and how jazzed were you when you read the script?
Yeah, I mean, it came about in I think the most traditional way possible. I got sent the script and I read it, and by the bottom of the first page, I knew I wanted this part so badly because you're right, it doesn't come around very often. You still don't see nearly enough opportunities to play complicated and interesting and fierce women who are unapologetically ambitious. I mean, it was everything that I've been looking for, and I didn't think I was going to get it. I've never done comedy, and it felt like a real long shot, and I'm so happy to be here.
And you have such a great cast of actors to work with, not to
Yeah.
mention the creator, who's Amy Palladino. Is that right?
Yeah, Amy Sherman Palladino.
And I saw her, I think I saw you all from afar. I was lucky enough to go to the Screen Actors Guild Award, and I think she got a big award. And she seems like such a character.
Oh yeah. I mean, she's the greatest. She's so sharp and smart. She's easily the smartest person in any room. She's wildly intimidating and wonderful, and she's a real fierce leader for this show. She runs a tight ship, and we're all the beneficiaries of her great leadership.
Tell us a little bit about some of the other stars that you work with, because they're all so enormously talented. I want to kind of give props to everybody. And I know that Amy created the Gilmore Girls. Someone just wrote that she created the Gilmore Girls, right?
Yeah, Amy created and wrote on and directed Gilmore Girls for many years alongside her husband, Dan Palladino. Obviously, we have the brilliant Tony Shalhoub and Alex Borstein and Michael
So
Zegan
funny.
and Marin Hinkle. I mean, it truly is a dream, and it always feels so silly saying that because I feel like you hear people say that all the time. I love going to work every day, but the hardest part about quarantine has been not being able to see these guys every day, and we laugh so much. And on top of that, it's a brilliant group of incredible human beings who are both
That's so
talented
nice.
and incredibly kind. And I count my lucky stars every day.
Someone wanted someone mentioned on this, you can read the comments sort of, you have to kind of read and multitask, but someone was talking about how incredible the wardrobe is as well, which is true. And by the way, what do you have, like a 16-inch waist? It's quite annoying, Rachel.
No, but thank you. I have some assistance from a corset, certainly. But our amazing costume designer, Donna Zakovska, is a freaky genius person. These costumes just fall out of her brain, and costume fittings are one of my favorite parts about working on the show. Just walking into the room and seeing all the fabrics that they're looking at and trying on a gazillion pairs of vintage shoes and finding matching purse sets. And it's been wild. I'm not nearly that girly in my own personal style, so it's been really, really fun to get to try on all those gorgeous dresses every week.
I know, and I love that you and your mom are unapologetic clothes horses, you know, and you just are so into it, and it makes it so fun. And someone else asked, and I was curious about this too, it is your character modeled after a certain comedian? Did you do any research? Because a friend of mine, my friend Kevin and Pam, whose birthday it is today, and they're watching. Happy birthday, Pam. Yeah, they were talking about, I guess Melissa Rivers thought that Mrs. Maisel was modeled after, that's a lot of M's, Rachel, modeled after Joan Rivers. Is that true?
No, not explicitly. I know that early on there was a lot of conversation about that. While we're all obviously enormous Joan Rivers fans, I certainly am, and studied her as well as Phyllis Diller and a woman named Jean Carroll, who's a little bit lesser known. Moms Mabley. The comedy world was really foreign to me, and I tried to throw myself into it as much as I could. But I had kind of I have a sort of personal story about an interaction that I had with Joan Rivers a few years before she unfortunately passed, and it has really stuck with me. She came to see a play that I was in. She loved theater, and she made sure to say hello and thank you and talk about the show with every single one of the actors. I was 20 years old and brand new. It was my Broadway debut, and she was so kind to me and so encouraging. So while Joan Rivers was obviously somebody that I studied and that I admire very, very much, the character is mostly inspired by Amy's father, who was a comedian. Mm-hmm. So Amy often jokes that she boiled down her father into a 5'3" lady, and thus is Midge Maisel.
Oh, that's so funny. That's really funny. And that's such a sweet story about Joan Rivers, because that was so sad when she passed away. And I think she was known to be a really generous person and very supportive, even though in that show, what was that show called? The Fashion Police or whatever, she could be sort of snarky about people's clothes. But I think she was really a lovely woman. I knew her a little bit, but not super well. But Jane Lynch's character is clearly Phyllis Diller, right?
I'm sure. Yeah, I feel like she's Phyllis Diller inspired, definitely. Jane is so incredible. She's hilarious, and again, so
isn't
smart.
she the best?
Smart people. Yeah, Jane is incredible, and I love the rivalry between Mitch and Sophie.
It's so funny. And I was going to ask you, I know you've completed 3 seasons, Rachel. So what was the production schedule for season 4?
So we were set to start shooting in the kind of late spring, and unfortunately have been put on hold until things return to some sense of normal, and we're able to safely go back to work. So we haven't yet begun season 4, but I hope as soon as we're able to safely get the gang back together again, that we will. We're really excited to keep telling this story.
Yeah, I'm excited for the next season to come out. My favorite episodes are always in the Berkshires.
Oh, the Catskills, yeah.
The Catskills, not the Berkshires. Hello, what an idiot. The Catskills. Is that kind of the same thing? It's not, is it?
No, but I guess a similar, like, kind of whimsical vibe.
Yeah. I love those episodes. I think they are so fun. And it's so interesting to see how people, I guess, of a certain social status, and of course the family's Jewish, and how they go to the Catskills every summer and stay in the same cabin and participate in the same, like, Simon Says things, which looks really boring to me, the Simon Says activities.
Yeah.
Are you there?
Yeah, well, I guess that was so much more of a thing. Yes, am I still here? Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you. You're a little frozen, but I think you're not frozen to other people. So you're just a little frozen for me, but that's okay. Oh, there you are. I can see you on my friend's phone. No, that's my phone. Okay, anyway, don't worry.
I feel like that is how the inside of my brain feels in quarantine.
Right.
I don't know what day it is or what my middle name is. Oh gosh.
I know. I keep like forgetting things mid-sentence and saying, "I'm sorry. What was I talking about?"
It's a
And my
lot.
friend keeps saying that I'm having mini strokes, but I'm really not. Everything's good, you guys. And I know the Catskills are, they said, put the wine down. Honestly, you guys, I've had one little sip of wine. As I said earlier,
I'm
Rachel.
sad that I don't have wine right now.
I know I need to tell my guests that they have, because this is our happy hour. And I say it's always good to have a drink after a long, unproductive day, Rachel, right?
Absolutely. It's the most important.
How are you guys doing? I know you're quarantining with a couple of friends, and also, how are you guys doing? And you're binge watching. Someone asked what you're watching. I was just asking that question. You're binge watching Survivor?
Oh yeah. We are we're big Survivor fans. We have turned an embarrassing number of people on to Survivor in this quarantine. But it's been so fun. We've been going back and kind of doing the highlight seasons, and I mean, we've seen them all.
You have?
And are introducing our whole quarantine to some of our favorite seasons, and also trying to keep up with the current season. My friend has been joking that she has a crush on Ozzy from 15 years ago, which is confusing, but it feels so current. We're responding and we're engaged in real time. Yeah, we've seen a lot of Survivor.
My husband is a Survivor freak. I sometimes watch it with him. Jeff Probst is so cute. I had a date with him once, and I think he wore puka shells, but he didn't ask me out. He didn't ask me out a second time, so he really blew it, Rachel. But
I don't know how I feel about Jeff Probst after this.
No, I'm kidding. Oh, my daughter Ellie is watching, but my husband absolutely loves that show. Do you think you would be a good player on Survivor? And then I want to talk to you about Covenant House, because I definitely want to talk about that.
Please. I don't know. We go back and forth on this. I feel like I'm pretty straightforward, and I'm not sure that when things started going wrong or when people were being particularly stupid, that I would be able to handle that in a diplomatic way. And so I think that could get me very quickly voted off the island.
Yeah, I don't know. My husband said I would be a really good player, but I don't think I'm shrewd enough. And I think I'm not sneaky enough. I think I would wear my emotions on my sleeve a little too much to do very well in that game. But I'd like to go on it because they all look so good at the end of the season.
The Survivor diet, where your stomach is just eating itself. I don't know.
Pretty much. But listen, before we go, and I don't want to keep you too long because you're so sweet. By the way, everyone, I like to, because people join in progress. I have no idea what I'm doing either, Rachel, but I'm talking to Rachel Brosnahan, who's the delightful star of The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. She's wonderful, and it's a fantastic show if you guys are looking for something to watch, if you haven't watched it yet. But I know that you are getting or you have been involved with an organization that I know does wonderful work called Covenant House. And people are looking for places to donate to and to support during this really challenging time. How did you get involved with Covenant House? And can you tell everybody a little, I know about it, but for people who don't, what services they provide and who they help?
Yeah, so Covenant House is an organization that provides support and services to young people experiencing and overcoming homelessness in 31 cities across the US, Canada, and Latin America. They provide things like safe shelter, clean clothes, a hot meal. But what I love about them is that they do so much more than that. They have educational services and job training and medical center and substance abuse counseling, legal services if necessary, and so much more. I became involved about 8 years ago through an event called the Broadway Sleep Out. I was doing a show on Broadway, and a couple members of the Broadway community organized this event to introduce people to Covenant House to help raise money for this. And I've been involved ever since. I was so moved by the experience that I had that night, and getting to meet some of the brave young people who call Covenant House home, and some of the staff. It's been incredible, but as you can imagine, the need is so great there right now. Where do you go when you're told to stay home if you're a young
Right.
person experiencing homelessness? And Covenant House provides that home for thousands of people across their 31 cities and locations. But the need is greater than it ever has been. You know, their medical centers need PPE so they can safely accommodate all of the residents, so they can create isolation rooms and floors for sick or symptomatic young people. They need the things that we all need: paper towel, toilet paper. A number of young people who were at college have had to return, unfortunately, to Covenant House because college campuses have been shut down. More than 80% of young people across their locations have lost their jobs. And that also means there's an increased need for food supplies across the locations when young people aren't eating at school or at work, and everybody is being encouraged to stay inside. They need thermometers, and you can help by helping provide additional funding if you're able to. Thank you for asking, how do we donate? I'm going to throw up the link in my bio as soon as we get off of here. And anything you can, if you're able, is so appreciated. These kids and staff are amazing, and thank you.
It is an incredible organization, and I think that people would like to donate because a lot of people are asking about that. But I'm just curious, Rachel, obviously during this pandemic, they have, you know, you mentioned PPE, and I think sadly, when it comes to domestic violence and other issues, that a lot of people are afraid to call shelters. They're afraid to go to shelters because of the pandemic. So they're taking folks and they're putting them in safe spaces in Covenant House facilities, right?
Yes, absolutely. And they do everything they can to protect your identity if you're in a dangerous situation. Yes, and it can be challenging, but they are here to help.
Well, that's wonderful that you're so involved with that. And I know one of the reasons that you're such a tremendous supporter of Covenant House, Rachel, is that they welcome people in with absolutely no judgment. And there was one girl who you met who had to go back to Covenant House for the 6th time, and there was no criticism or judgment, that they always welcome people who need their services.
Yeah, that, you know, almost all of the young people who find themselves at Covenant House have experienced an incredible amount of trauma in their lives, and many of them have never been told something as simple as, I love you, you are loved, you are safe, I value who you are. And the thing that I think sets Covenant House apart is that they treat every single person who comes to the doors with absolute love, unconditional love, absolute respect. And they encourage young people who are there to dream as big as they can. And this young woman that I met, she told me that she had been in the door 6 times, and every time she returned, that she was greeted with open arms and told that this was the time that she was going to succeed there, no matter what. And she did.
Oh, that's so nice. Well, thank you for telling us about this, because I think a lot of people are looking for great organizations they can support during this time. And sometimes it's a bit overwhelming. So thanks for including Covenant House in the list of wonderful charities people can support. You're so sweet to talk to me. And I know you guys are in New York City. Are you doing that thing every night at 7 p.m. where you applaud and cheer for the healthcare workers?
Yeah, it's been such a light during this crazy time, and it's something that I think makes us all feel connected, to be able to hear people clapping and cheering from all over the neighborhood. It's really special, and I hope that our healthcare workers are hearing it as well.
I think they are. You know, I have so many friends who are doctors and nurses through my cancer advocacy work, and they say it means so much to hear the support of the community, to hear people cheering. I did an interview with a good friend of mine named Mark Bachapin, who was my late husband's doctor when he was diagnosed with cancer. And it's just so moving to hear him not only appreciate the sound of New Yorkers cheering him and his colleagues on, but all the people in the hospital, from the janitors, the people who are doing security, the people who are preparing the meals, you know, everyone who walks into a hospital is putting themselves at risk. I just interviewed a chaplain, a 26-year-old chaplain at Mount Sinai today.
Wow.
And it was so moving because she's ministering to the dying and also to traumatized healthcare workers. But it's so hard because, you know, she has to give this kind of spiritual support without actually touching people, or, you know, in many cases not being close to them. So it's such a challenging time. So I know for a fact that they hear everyone cheering, and they're so grateful. So keep it up.
Yeah, please. 7 p.m. over here anyway, every night. And I think it's a slightly different time on the West Coast, I'm hearing. But please, if you're able, open your window, clap your hands, let everyone on the front lines know how much we appreciate them.
Yeah. Well, it's so nice to talk to you, Rachel. I think everybody really enjoyed hearing from you, and there's so many nice positive comments, and people really applaud your work with Covenant House as well. So tomorrow not tomorrow, but maybe we're going to feature this in my newsletter. I always put a pitch plug in for that called Wake Up Call. Amazing. Because we have a team that's putting it together every day where we give the most important news stories and a lot of original content. So we'll be sure to do a link to this interview tomorrow in Wake Up Call. And if you haven't subscribed, Missy, you better.
I'm on it. Thank you. I will
go to katiecouric.com.
Tell me where oh, good. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, that's all you have to do. And again, Rachel's going to put information about Covenant House. Oh, by the way, well, she's 29. Everyone's asking about your skincare routine. And I'm like, the woman is 29 years old, for crying out loud. But having said that, you do have beautiful, flawless skin. And what's going on with that, Rachel? Any tips for other 29-year-olds out there?
Well, I mean, I've had a very similar skincare routine for a really long time. I've been using Cetaphil. I love it. And it's
what's it called?
Cetaphil. You've seen it in drugstores, and it comes in a blue and white bottle. They have a cleanser and moisturizers. It's super simple, like 1 or 2 products at a time.
Well, we'll make sure people know that Adrienne is making fun of me because I use Dove soap and like cheap moisturizer, which you can probably tell, by the way. But I'm 63, so I feel like I should get a pass on that. But, well, your skin looks beautiful, but you're also beautiful on the inside, and you're an extraordinarily talented actress. So Cetaphil. I know Cetaphil. Oh, I use Cetaphil too. Oh, sorry.
I've been mispronouncing it for 12 plus years, but yes.
Well, I think I guess everybody says it different ways. That's a great, and it's very mild, and it's good because I get eczema, and I'm sure people are like, really? That's fascinating, Katie. But anyway, Rachel uses Cetaphil, everyone, and she looks beautiful. Anyway, we'll let you go. Tell your cute husband, Jason, and your dogs and your friends I said hi.
I will.
Thanks so much for doing this, Rachel.
Thank you. And thank you so much for taking the time to talk about Covenant House. It means so much to me and everyone over there. Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, big kiss, and bye, everybody. Happy Friday. Bye.
Take that link in my bio now. Check it out. Thanks, Katie.
Bye.